You're listening to DraftKings Network.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply. You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Shadowing it.
Chris, as our fearless leader today, Greg, we've started. You need to stop doing that with the microphone. You didn't hear?
Okay.
We're on, Greg.
All right. What did I do? I touched my microphone.
But do you not hear the countdown? Do you not hear 5, 4, and then after 1 is when we're starting? Like, do you not hear that?
Yeah. I thought it was segueing right into the Shadow Show.
Yeah, in Greg's defense, Shadow Show's different. It's just us kind of, the concept was we stroll in and it's like cash as we're getting ready for the show.
Right.
Greg's just getting ready with his tumid bag and his laptop.
Chris, as the son of Greg, who is in charge of the shenanigans today, do you know where Stugotz is?
I know that I saw an email last night, which is, for him, very early notice that he would not be here.
Because?
I didn't see an answer why. I just saw an updated schedule. Yeah. No Stugotz today.
Billy, as the keeper of the Stugotz, do you know what's happened? Because he almost made it to a full work week at the Super Bowl, and then he celebrated it by failing at the end, the tires falling off, inconveniencing everybody, canceling a dozen guests, and then not showing up for work on time on Monday.
I have no idea where he is. I saw the same email. It was news to me, and then I also saw that he is now working on Thursday, which throws off our recordings for later this week. I haven't gotten a heads up. No clue where he is. I also... not to, put anyone's business out there, also was told that, we have someone that helps with weekend observations, and I was told that person did not get a heads up. So that person did weekend observations and did not know that it was for nothing.
At least it's done.
No, let's have Greg do it.
Do what?
Stugotz's weekend observations. Let's see. You want to audition for the role of Stugotz since you're in the seat? It's a Greg Cody Tuesday. It's always better when it's Greg and Stugotz on a Tuesday.
It's possible that that's not entirely complete yet, though, because this person did get the heads up last night via email. But I think that work was being done earlier in the day, just unaware that it was not necessary for today.
Billy, I do think that the Spirit of Shadow Show should have the sound of you poniendo mantequilla ahí on your toast.
I'm trying. I'm trying to keep things back to how they were.
I think that the Shadow Show should always have you buttering toast in the background as you just prepare for the day. Chris, you were just drinking beer in Canada with Mike Ryan all weekend, right?
Some whiskey as well.
I wasn't drinking any beer.
Yeah.
It was all tequila sodas. All gas, no brakes.
You guys had fun, huh? That's well done. Like there's a little bit of a difference between the exhibitions right now. It's kind of startling.
Charlie McAvoy is in the hospital as we speak.
Look, man, I'm stunned at how quickly some of this happened with hockey and basketball, where you've just desecrated one All-Star game. You've made a bunch of changes to it. Now one of your star players, Kevin Durant, is saying, I don't understand why any of you watch any of this. You all NBA fans seem like they don't like the NBA. He wasn't even talking about exhibitions. Like, he's talking about, in general, he's like, NBA fans exist to just complain about all the things they don't like about the NBA.
I thought he made a bunch of great points.
He did.
His best point was, I think it's more fun to complain than actually watch. Yes, that's right. 100%.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Batard Show. Is it more fun to complain than to watch? He also said the only thing that people are interested in the NBA is the trade deadline, free agency, and player beef. And he's not wrong there either.
No, he made a bunch of great points.
And the playoffs, he said.
But you know what? It happened on their watch. Like, they are lamenting what they perpetuated.
In fairness, when the players don't care about playing the games, why should the fans care about watching the games?
That is correct. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely happening. But I really do think one of the things getting lost between the link is bubble, pandemic, George Floyd. They didn't feel like playing back then either. And it's like precipitated. Like it's gotten, as the things in America have gotten worse and the conversation around that league is, they were so woke and the uniforms with social justice. Like they didn't want to play then to entertain us when America was falling apart either. And they don't want to do it now. And then America turns on them. Like, of course, because you want joy with your games. Why wouldn't you want that? You want simply that the athletes have a contagious feeling about caring about what they're doing as much as we do.
It sounds like you're trying to make the players victims here.
I'm not.
A little bit.
I'm not. I'm just telling you why it's happened. I'm not. I think they're wrong. You got to care about your sport. Like, I don't defend it. I am absolutely not defending it. Their job as performers is to entertain, but they don't like it so much right now. And they've got so much power that they can tell their commissioner bleep off on national television. LeBron doesn't even bother to put on the uniform.
Did we start the show?
Did we?
Let's do it.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Greg Cody doesn't think he needs any prep. Greg Cody is always ready. He was born ready. He stays ready. Mm-hmm. And when you came in today, did you see who is on our guest list today?
It says guest for Dan's story. I have no idea what that means.
Well, that's not what it said on the board. When I walked in and on the board, I'm looking at guest lists. All it said is 11 a.m. racist guest. That's what it said. Racist guest. And I think we need to get Greg Cody up to speed because that has some danger in it if he's not aware of what we're doing at 11 a.m. And there's been a scramble here today because Stugotz has failed to show up.
AWOL.
We will talk about the things from the weekend in a moment. A lot of people that you love in sports are taking this week off. Taking this week off the way that the basketball all-stars took the weekend off because they are tired of that particular exhibition. And it is super interesting to watch them take for granted their audience caring. I don't know if you guys have seen how low the Miami Heat's ratings are locally, down 56% year over year, as I've been telling you what the Panthers did in taking this town and what hockey now does by caring about its exhibitions, going to the hospital. Tkachuk is flying all over the place, giant hits in a game that's not supposed to matter until you wrap it in patriotism. That's where Mike Ryan and Chris were drinking tequila and drinking some whiskey.
Can we celebrate the NHL and its players first and foremost before we get into all the negative? I know that that's the place that everybody wants to go, but where the NBA and its players are failing is where exactly the NHL and their players are succeeding. They, out of thin air, put together a TV property in 4 nations that now has value. They are going to share in the rewards of this, be it there may never be another 4 nations, but with the World Cup of Hockey, given the numbers that this pulled, 4.4 million, the most watched non-Stanley Cup final game since 2019, this now is a lucrative television property. There is big money now in international best-on-best hockey, and the players deserve all the credit for making that happen, from the conceptualizing to the actual execution, because they care so much. It's evident.
If I can take you back, I'm not kidding, to the last time I cared enough to summon any kind of criticism or indignance for an all-star exhibition or friendly of any kind, it would have legitimately been back when I cared about all-star games, which is when there were 3 channels. This Week in Baseball existed because there were no highlights anywhere, and they just gave you This Week in Baseball, and you caught up on everything that was happening, and then all the stars gathered in one place, and it was before streaming and a million years ago, obviously ancient times. But that is when I started caring about that, and about when I stopped as I entered adulthood, and then all of the exhibitions were a silly thing. But when you wrap it in patriotism, Greg. And when you have in basketball the joylessness of it doesn't seem like they care very much, because they don't. They're giving voice to it. Draymond Green is killing his product, saying that it's boring. And Oscar Robertson is coming back at him and saying, it's boring the way you play it. All you're doing is running around passing the staff. What else are you doing out there? But like, they're doing something to their product. To see both of them try and fill the space after football and to do it that differently.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch this past weekend because hockey kicked basketball's ass. And it was amazing that basketball tried to rejigger its whole All-Star weekend and failed miserably. These 3 games now, separated by time, the players hate it. First to 40 points. It's a nightmare. You have a G League guy who's always winning the dunk contest because nobody wants to be in the dunk contest. The 3-point contest is now superfluous.
Can you stop for a second, though? Because I want to get all your thoughts on basketball. We columnists can get to the negative very fast. You were rolling.
Right.
You were rolling.
Yeah.
And you weren't going to stop. I do want to celebrate hockey for a second, because when you're talking about changes to a sport, I can tell you right now that if you make basketball an all-star game that involves the nations, it'll feel different than what it is that you got this weekend.
Also, 2 fights at the tip would help.
That helps. That helps as well.
I'm surprised no one fought Shane Gillis at the beginning of that All-Star game. That would have gotten me certainly more invested. Yeah, the fights are great, but look, hockey players just go about their sport differently. Amin and I had a big on-air conversation about it. These guys care because putting that country's jersey on matters. Even last night, in a totally meaningless game in a round-robin tournament, it still mattered to these guys because they have professional pride and national pride. They've waited 11 years for a best-on-best tournament at the international level, and they delivered. From the very first puck drop, Sweden-Canada on Thursday, it was already the single greatest all-star week I had ever experienced.
Well, you were there drinking too much. Roy, what were your thoughts on all things hockey this weekend and where it is? This is a pretty seismic shift. You do understand this, right? Like you understand that it's super weird in one weekend to have these two things next to each other. It's a little bit disorienting.
Well, there's one man that you can thank for all this.
Wayne Gretzky.
No, not Wayne Gretzky.
Donald Trump.
Yeah. Exactly. The man who's wasted taxpayer dollars because he wanted to do laps around the Tri-Over in Daytona, that's on him. Because he riled up everybody in Canada talking about Canada being the 51st state and all the tariffs and everything, that they got Canadians, even in regular season games leading up to this tournament, booing the national anthem. Yeah. So politically, this was even bigger, this tournament, for nations.
Yeah, there was a little extra juice to it.
Yeah, a little.
I'm not going to lie, I've never felt more like a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Being in Canada.
Yep.
I was like, you get sucked in.
Yep.
You hear all the boos and you want to, like, you're in a corner and it's just like, hey, stop booing us. The next thing I know, I'm being looked at like I support.
I mean, you're America.
I am.
I look at you and I see.
I know.
The
Trust
bloated
me, I look
excess.
in the mirror. I was like,
I see I have everything happening over there. Everything happening over there. I look at you and I see the map of a bloated America.
Yeah. There was a lot of apologizing on the front end and F words on the back end. Yes. Like, it was just, you get wrapped up in it, especially when you're in a barn where everybody's booing you. And I understand they're not booing me personally. They're not even booing the guys. Like, it got so aggregated that the fights were about the booing of the national anthem. No, they weren't. Those fights were premeditated, weeks in advance. Listen to the words before you post on End Wokeness.
They had a group text about it.
Such a millennial way for, like, doesn't that take away a little bit from it? It's like, oh, this was all predetermined. I thought it was just
a fight. If
I
I predetermined an NBA fight for you, you wouldn't eat that up if at the start of the All-Star game. What do you care whether it's predetermined?
And also, I don't think you should be telling people out loud you're premeditating crimes.
Well, it's not a crime if it's on the ice.
Right.
But unlike, Jimmy Butler and the Denver Nuggets and, the Jokic brothers and all that nonsense, this actually came to fruition. And we had 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
Ridiculous.
And it's crazy.
Glorious.
The Florida Panthers went about a decade plus without an American of note on their roster. You had one guy in David Booth that was flirting with getting international call-ups every now and then. I know Austin Matthews is a captain, and he's the biggest star in American hockey because he plays in Toronto, and he's great. But Matthew Tkachuk is the face of this national hockey team. He is the voice, he is the attitude, and he, with every opportunity, he grabs at each and every opportunity to grow the game. This is such a marketable star. He needed to be the guy that set the tone, and he did, and it was amazing.
Roy, it seems strange to me, okay, because I know he was great before he got here, and obviously he didn't even have to be as great as some of his teammates for them to win the championship. Because Tkachuk was better the year before than he was the year they won the championship by a good amount. I don't know if I can say this is a coming out party, given everything I just said about who this player is. But to go and fight on behalf of your nation, take the lead on something that is hockey taking the lead from basketball, or no, our exhibition is the one that matters. To be the face of that, if you're a Panther fan, that had to feel pretty good.
I agree. In Calgary, they couldn't get past Edmonton, and obviously for him playing in Canada. Now switching over to America, now he's the entire face of this league. You're seeing him in Perry Ellis commercials now. He's got his own clothing sponsor. So, yeah, like he's now the face of this national team, and I'm, for one, very happy about it.
Some of the best interactions in Canada over the weekend were with Calgary fans because they just get so sad when they see Panther fans. They're just like, oh, and I'm just like, Huberdeau. I just say Huberdeau to them. It's like punching them right in the stomach.
He's having a better season.
And there were a lot of Panther fans. That, to me, was the most astonishing take from the weekend in terms of a single individual fan base that was well represented in Montreal. I saw more Florida Panthers fans outside of Canadians fans. That was the biggest group there. A bunch of people repping their team. You could actually see this sport growing. People traveling on behalf of their Florida Panthers.
I know that we have spent too many local hours this regular season talking about what Kevin Durant says is absolutely so. Player beef, disharmony in basketball sells. So we have talked a lot about Jimmy Butler and the Heat when it's a nowhere season that is, like I said before, a 56% drop-off in ratings year over year is something that tells you there's a profound indifference around the Miami Heat for the first time in a very long time. And to have the Panthers step into the breach and feel very much like it's Tampa. It's what grew at the beginning in Tampa in Florida, where you get such strong allegiances because these are the moments that you remember for a lifetime, the snapshots. When I talk to you in general, for all the howling you hear about the All-Star games, go ahead and mention all the moments you remember all time from all of the All-Star games. Like your entire data bank of memory of amazing All-Star moments. Mine are all in baseball. They're not, I've got a couple in basketball.
Sean Taylor killing Brian Moorman.
Yes. Sean Taylor, a hit on a punter in a Pro Bowl game. But like the moments are the things that make for the stickiness that as a lifelong allegiance of I saw this with my mom, I saw this with my dad, I remember what the place smelled like. I remember how good that felt to be a part of that, to be a Panther fan in Canada in the middle of that, and to watch your guy, not the best guy on your team, but kind of the most important one, kind of the star, not necessarily the best guy. Like I could have said it 2 years ago.
The attitude, the culture changer is Matthew Tkachuk. The best player, two ways, Alexander Barkov. And it was great to see a bunch of Panther fans out there cheering for him. But the guy that is the face and attitude of this team and now nation when it comes to hockey is Matthew Tkachuk.
But we have aired, and this is our fault. It's our fault as a show, and it exposes a casual interest that Stugotz and I have in the Panthers. We have three Panthers fans, like diehard three Panther fans in the room, and they're still at the top of the conference. And
I guess Roy likes it too.
Yeah,
they're still
I cover the team.
They're still
unbiased,
exceptional.
Okay, all right, okay. Folks, did you know that sleep is one of the most important parts of recovery? Whether you're a pro athlete or just looking to crush your day, getting the right kind of rest is key. And that's where Sleep Number Smart Beds comes in. Since 2018, Sleep Number has partnered with the NFL to help elite athletes get quality sleep that they need to perform at their best. In fact, 80% of NFL players sleep on Sleep Number Smart Beds. Tough workout? The Sleep Number Smart Bed can be adjusted to suit your needs. Firmer one night, softer the next, giving you the ultimate recovery boost. And let's talk about those sweaty, sleepless nights. The new Climate Cool Smart Bed adjusts up to 15 degrees cooler on either side with scientifically designed cooling programs to keep you comfortable and undisturbed. Sleep Number Smart Beds don't just help you sleep, they learn how you sleep, providing personalized insights to help you get even better rest. It's like having a sleep coach right in your bedroom. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? So you can choose your ideal comfort on either side. And now, save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. See store or sleepnumber.com for details.
Dan Le Batard.
Mike Ryan's in there, and he's the one with a baby. He's the one who's got to, worry about what the future is. And Mike Ryan bet on DraftKings because Mike Ryan bet on us. This is the bet you're afraid of doubling down on? Putting up a billboard in Edmonton?
Stugotz.
I care more about Matthew Tkachuk than I do my daughter.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Roy, you have been compromised. You are the most biased of all of the Panther people that we have around here.
Impartial reporter.
Unprofessional.
You have a press credential, but you guys have to feel like you're at the beginning of what was happening in Tampa. Do you not? You slay Tampa. You win the championship. You take out McDavid. McDavid's not as good this year as your team is. When I thought McDavid and they would have, that vengeance jump that the Spurs grow into when they beat the Miami Heat after losing to the Miami Heat. But your team is still better, and some would argue, more expert than I, that your team is tougher.
Yeah. Yeah, Connor is still overrated, by the way.
Oh, it's a fine.
A great man once said that. I can't remember who. The great thing about the Panthers is that
you can remember who.
This is sustainable. They've been really, really good for 3 years now. Tkachuk, one of the great trades in South Florida sports history. Tkachuk just turned 27. He's absolutely in his prime.
Well, hold on a second. It's not only one of the great trades in South Florida sports history. That's one of the greatest trades ever made to lock up that guy for 8 years, win a championship immediately.
Yep.
That's all of sports. That's both countries. That's not just South Florida.
Right.
That trade changed the Panthers from being a team that never won in the playoffs to this conversation we're having right now. That's nuts.
Can I bring it back to Saturday night? The most united I felt with Canada all weekend was walking away from my seat into the concourse after that first period, because it really was one of those holy shit, what did we just watch moments. You're literally high-fiving Canada fans of I'm telling you. It was a just mutual, okay, we're at war right now, but holy shit, that period was one of the coolest sporting events I've ever seen. I know I'm being hyperbolic. Top 10 easy. I'm not going to go top 5 because everyone's going to get mad at me. Top 10 sports moment, that first period, those fights, the hockey after, the crowd when McDavid scores, one of the loudest things I've ever heard. Just that first period.
Billy is skeptical.
You'd be terrible at war, honestly. Horrible at war. You're high-fiving your enemies in the concourse.
It was just like after one of the battles. You don't think ever in war, after a battle where they kind of decided that we're done here, like, hey, good one, though. That was good. Come on.
At the end of the day, they're Canadian. It's like everyone's like, I got warned by Sid Cicero. He's like, man, I feel bad for you going in there. I'm like, relax. I dry humped the gator outside of the swamp and I put a collective hat on him. We're good.
Right. They would boo.
It's fine.
As a group, they would boo, but face to face, nice people.
They're French
Uberdo.
Canadian. They don't even want to be there.
Uberdo, and they would just be like, oh,
Uberdo.
I mean, no, we're aligned there, and then by the end of the game, you're chanting 51 at somebody's face. It is what it is.
And then they get mad at us, and we say, we're just kidding.
Just
Come
kidding.
on, that's
Sorry.
That's good banter.
Banter.
We did give people their first, and that was literally an olive branch. I guess they don't have them there without all crazy warnings. And they're like, what are those, pal? Oh, we're about to change your life.
He's like, I chew it? Nah, buddy.
Nah, it just dissolves. Get ready for a ride. These are 6s.
Chris, did you really turn to a Canadian fan after some rhetoric back and forth and say with a point, good banter?
There was 2 guys that really took exception to us. And then the entire row of 8 dudes got involved. And
all right, can you guys get me that video? I want to show the video of Mike Ryan and Chris Cody fighting 10 Canadian fans at once. We have that video from earlier in the show. I don't know what country this is from here, but it's 10
Canada. It's Mike and Chris.
10 amateur. Thank you, Billy. 10 amateur fighters against 2 professional fighters, and this is where the future is headed here. Which way is this going to end? 10 amateurs against 2 professionals. Who do you guys have? The 10 amateurs or the 2 pros?
Well, there are weight classes for a reason. I'm going to go super heavyweights here.
I don't know where this ends. I haven't seen the entirety of this.
This is good
video.
banter.
That's you
That's
too.
not banter.
For the podcast audience, we're watching two guys punch 10 smaller guys.
It's 2 super heavyweights against like 10 smaller guys. It's the 2 super heavyweights. Yeah, the amateur got a good shot in.
That was a sucker punch.
They're allegedly amateur fighters, the smaller ones,
They're not.
and the 2 guys are. Yeah, the 2 guys, the 2 professional super heavyweights won.
Wow.
Those
How
are-
sad.
Those are not amateur fighters. Those are 10 kids who have never fought before, fighting 2 professionals. What stories did you come back with?
dude.
How many good stories do you guys have from the weekend?
So there was a moment before the Saturday nightcap, USA Canada, where my friends were at a bar, and we went to Scout to go get food or see if we can get a proper American pregame. And we walked down the block, and I found a Hooters. And I was like, oh, perfect. Do they have a TouchTunes? Now, TouchTunes in Canada, owned by a different company, so your app doesn't work. So you have to get cash to put it in. So I saddled up to the bar, and I put in 20 Canadian dollars, which might as well, I think the exchange rate is like 3,000 American. And all I do is put American songs. I'm telling you, like Freebird's in there like 24 times. There was one point, and this was my mistake. I played After Party in the USA, the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, boy.
The entire Hooters turned against me. They knew what was happening.
How'd they know it was you?
I don't. Well,
in the Tkachuk jersey.
Well, when I started, me in the Tkachuk jersey, eating it up with all the other Panthers. It was actually a great unifier. There were 2 Tampa Bay Lightning fans behind me, and they were like, "Yeah, good on you." And so, like, the Canadians in the bar unplugged the TouchTunes. The music just stopped.
It's Hooters. Come on.
Which is a shame because I was about to play Nickelback, How You Remind Me, to set them up just to hit them with Freebird one more time. Pow! But they had unplugged it, and we wore out our welcome, so we just met up everybody else at the bar.
How's Hooters doing?
Oh, well, that one, not as good as it could have been. Yeah. But they definitely took all my money. I only got dude, I was like a third into my programming. It was incredible. Wow.
Hooters hasn't gotten bankrupt
Hooters is awesome, man. I love Hooters. I love Hooters.
Wings.
I'm not complaining. I'm just asking you. I would imagine in this day and age that they might struggle to survive.
Why?
I just don't see them anywhere.
What?
I don't see
there's
them.
Hooters.
There's
Nah,
also
man,
Hooters on South Beach.
Yeah,
They're
there's-
everywhere.
yeah,
man.
man.
Just drive around.
Hooters is still, thank God, an American institution.
Hooters is tame compared to Instagram, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Put it on
there's
the poll.
Twin Peaks. There's all sorts of competitors now.
At
Tilted
Levitard
Kilt.
Show, put it on the poll. Is Instagram, what was the word you used, Billy?
Hooters is tame compared to
Okay.
Instagram.
Is
Before
Hooters-
you went to Hooters, like, boom.
I also got
Now you go on Instagram, and it's like, whoa.
I had the weirdest response to "Can I talk to your manager?" I've ever received in my entire life. All right, and I hope they're not
How
listening.
often do you do this?
Was this the other TouchTunes issue we had?
No. So this was still at Hooters. I'm like, I know that the manager was feeling it because when I was playing Living in America, I saw him singing along.
Yeah.
So, hey, can we, when the music stops, I'm like, hey, can we talk to your manager real quick? I want to find out what happened with the music. I'm like, hey, did you stop the music? He's like, what are you talking about? I love the tracks. I'm like, well, the TouchTunes is off over there. He's like, all right, let me do that. And I thank the waitress for putting us in contact. I'm like, hey, thank you so much. I'm going to tell him how great you are. She's like, don't do that. I'm suing him.
What?
Canada's different.
Hooters. Hey there, wellness warriors. If you're like me, you've given a lot of thought to how to improve your health and wellness routine this year. I've started stretching more, do a little mindfulness and meditation every day, try to clear my mind, make my body feel right. Take your health routine to the next level with the magic of contrast therapy. Meet our new amazing sponsor, Redwood Outdoors. They're making it easy to bring the benefits of saunas and cold plunges right to your backyard. A Redwood Outdoors backyard sauna seats 2 to 8 people, where you can relax, unwind, and enjoy all the benefits like reduced muscle tension, improved sleep, and glowing skin. And it doesn't stop there. Redwood Outdoors' invigorating cold plunge helps to boost circulation, sharpen your focus, and leave you feeling absolutely revitalized. Whether it's detoxing deeper, reducing inflammation, or connecting with loved ones in moments of peace, Redwood Outdoors has you covered. Enhance your physical and mental wellness routines with Redwood Outdoors. Take advantage of special savings today. Visit redwoodoutdoors.com. Use code DAN to save $175. That's redwoodoutdoors.com, code DAN to save $175 on your order. redwoodoutdoors.com, code DAN.
If you're a small business owner, you know how difficult it can be hiring the right people. And it can be a real grind. It takes the right partner to make sure you're getting the most qualified candidates. Well, you've got the right partner for you. LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free. Share it with your network and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, and we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. So, if you're a small business owner looking for the perfect hire, LinkedIn has you covered. With LinkedIn's new job posting feature, you can write job descriptions effortlessly and get your job in front of the right people using deep candidate insights. Quality matters. Based on LinkedIn data, 72% of small businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find top talent. Join over 2.5 million small businesses using LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire only on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Don Batard.
Yeah, it's not my favorite rejoin.
Context needs to be applied.
Going for a joke, and
I thought that context was applied.
We'd like to rip that out of context. I was going for a thing, and I have a family.
You're gonna pretend here that you don't love Matthew Tkachuk more than you love anybody you've ever loved.
I don't love Matthew Tkachuk more than my daughter.
Stugotz.
Now it's pretty damn close.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Chris, since we're talking about music, I really didn't think I was going to get many more opportunities ever in my career to play the song that we're about to play. But over the weekend, there was a very long story that opened the door to us to play one of the best and happiest and peppiest songs ever made around here.
Stomping round the dolphin facility, toughening up everybody he sees. Who's cracking skulls and stealing from rookies? Everyone knows it's Richie. Who's eating nails and poisonous cobras, intimidating guys on his team? Who stole my wife and broke my new glasses? Everyone knows it's Richie. And Richie has monstrous thighs. Be careful, he'll gouge your eyes. Screams racial slurs at black guys. But out of love. But out of love.
Did any of you have time to read this story, a deep, deep dive, where Jonathan Martin spends a year with the writer, and the only thing that comes from it is the aggregation of he lied about being bullied during bullygate, and now a lot of people are trying to support Richie Incognito in retrospect. Richie Incognito was one of the worst people in the history of the NFL, but he's taking a victory lap today because what's getting aggregated is what he feels like is exoneration. Did you guys read this story?
Mm-hmm.
The writer spent a year with Jonathan Martin.
I did not read the story. Billy said under his breath, what a waste of a year. I was kind of done with this story in 2018 when Jonathan Martin made criminal threats on social media. No laughing matter, posting guns, and it was bad. I believed he got charged for it. It was a bad situation. I don't think there are any heroes here. I think to circle back and claim victory over one thing. I also don't necessarily think maybe embellishments, but look, there's a lot of rotten behavior that we learned about that wasn't just around Jonathan Martin and Richie Incognito. When you think about the Asian victim that was giving interviews at the time, down through what happened several years later, it's just a shitty story.
For it to be aggregated as Richie Incognito is like off the hook somehow for all of the truly heinous things he said and did, just because Jonathan Martin wants to reclaim his place within that story, those two things are non-congruent. You don't have to believe that all of a sudden Richie Incognito is some good guy who we all turned our back on in a moment of need and he wasn't actually a bully, just because Jonathan Martin at this point in his life doesn't want to view himself as a victim. Those are two separate things.
Yeah, Jonathan Martin, when he did the TED Talk that led the entree into that story, he didn't even mention this. I mean, that's the thing he's most famous or infamous for. Didn't even mention it in the entire TED Talk. Now, Netflix is trying to do a story on this, a documentary, and Jonathan Martin, I've heard, is not cooperating. You know the Dolphins would not cooperate because that was a tremendous national black eye for them back when it happened. So, yeah, I agree with Mike. There's no winners here. May the story just go away because that was just a terrible time for all concerned.
Okay, but when somebody is doing this exhaustive a piece of work that Billy is saying is a giant waste of time, surely it's not lost on you guys that the white-black of this, they get held up as avatars. The story doesn't matter. The names don't matter. The sports don't matter. It's all just arguing on the internet to say, see, there is something I can point to that the black guy did, and here I can exonerate the white guy.
Right. As soon as things started getting aggregated, I kind of telegraphed where this was going, and I had zero interest. I understand that the writer did an exhaustive job. That sounds exhaustive. Spending a year with Jonathan Martin, there are a lot of exhausted journalism pieces that I have no interest in reading. Had no interest in this one. Kind of put that story to bed almost a decade ago.
Okay, so I will tell everybody this, because perhaps you've noticed a general lightening of mood around here in terms of how it is that we've been doing the show for the last 4 months, at least in part, because I have pulled much of the politics out of it. And temporarily, I need a break from the fight and from feeling like I am losing as I'm being bombarded with a strategy of, sending people to camps on Guantanamo. That's like the 9th story that people care about today. There are planes turning over and whatever, just a million things happening. So I've tried unsuccessfully, largely, to avoid what's happening over the last 6 or 7 weeks. It's impossible to avoid, but I saw that the politics shows made their return here. John Oliver's team gets a really nice break. Bill Maher works really hard, and I saw that Kid Rock was on Bill Maher, and I did not know, this is not the most interesting of things here, but I was not aware, were you guys aware that Kid Rock's name was Bob? I did not know that Kid Rock's name was Bob.
Yeah, we knew that because he was tight with Carson Daly during the TRL era.
Okay, I didn't know it was Bob, and there's something about the word Bob that is funnier than Robert. Like if it was Robert, if his name was Robert, it wouldn't seem as ridiculous to me as someone named Bob wearing the costume of someone named Kid Rock.
Yeah, doesn't look like a Bob.
Well, his name is Robert.
It is.
Bob is just his nickname.
I know, but
like
he goes,
a Billy William Guillermo situation.
Yes,
or it could be
you.
Bobbert.
It could be. No, check it. Robert James Ritchie.
Chris,
he looks like a Robert James.
I think he has a tattoo that says Bob right here. Which
don't you too?
I do too. So it's one of many things we have in common.
Chris, I know that you came back from Canada rejuvenated and creatively that you were inspired. So can you just make a quick song for me that makes fun of Kid Rock being named Bob?
Richie says I'm chugging a crump. My name is Kid. Richie says I'm chugging a crump. Pump the boogie. Bob, call me Bob. My name's Robert James. Richie says I'm chugging a crump. Pump the boogie. And this is for the trust fund boys with the answers. The orange man and the alleged couch romancer. The Wall Street geeks, daddy new car dealers. My 5-acre farm, redneck culture stealers. I'm Robert Rock, but you can call me Bob. The kid who appropriated trailer slobs. So MAGA crackheads, the critics, the cynics are buying into my political gimmicks. For the flag as a poncho with the Super Bowl. And my Cybertruck is straight fueled with skull. My beer attack is my hate projects. Fill my bank account and let me cash some checks. And my focus group sent to hate Hollywood. I resemble Dr. Phil with a wig and a hood. Remember when I had the fake Senate run? I just want Donald Trump to call me son. Bob, call me Bob. My name's Robert James. Richie says I'm chugging up from home the boogie. Bob, call me Bob. My name's Robert James. Richie says I'm chugging up from home the boogie.
A little faster next time, Chris. A little better, please.
So we have less politics now, yeah?
we're back.
I mean, that doesn't count.
Huh?
Yeah, it's a parody.
It's a song. It's music.
No, don't worry. We're doing
music.
both sides. We've given Trump credit for pennies, for paper straws, and for making the four nations so contentious because of his attack on Canada.
Yep.
So we're good. We've given him credit for stuff.
Yeah. Label it Trump was right one more time. I know we did that last week, but I think we
Where Donald Trump was right,
I think
part
people are
two.
starting to get it. Like, we're doing less. We're sticking more to whatever it is that we stick to. It's not necessarily sports.
Not an echo chamber. Did you guys think, because this was funny to see happen over the weekend as we're complaining about the basketball all-star game, it is something between a statement and a flex for LeBron not to even put on the uniform for the team photo, right? I'll get in a second to LeBron talking about why it is that he wasn't playing in the game and sounding like he's fumbling around searching for the excuse. But there aren't a lot of ways to defend that LeBron couldn't put on the uniform for a photo shoot. Are there? Are there people defending this that you can't? I don't know, like, if Silver's begging these guys to please care about how any of this looks, just pretend like you care, not wearing the uniform for the team photo.
I thought it was great.
It's not caring forever.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And it's just exemplary of this event. What the NBA All-Star Weekend has become is complete trash. LeBron James is bigger than the NBA, the only player who is. And for him not to be in uniform for this team photo, quote unquote, it's not even a team. Why do they need a team photo? Was ridiculous. Joyfully ridiculous. I thought it was great. Good for LeBron.
Good for LeBron.
Yeah.
Because
it's a middle finger to a ridiculous weekend of non-events. They need to just explode. Take a lesson from the NHL if you need to. They need to just explode their whole All-Star weekend.
So this is the first time I've heard this take being given by anybody, where not only does he think it's great, he thinks it's great as a statement to just blow up the entire game. Are you guys hearing that anywhere?
Well, blow up All-Star weekend, okay, and do something like the NHL is doing to make All-Star Weekend something that players look forward to, something that fans look forward to. Right now, I can't talk ill enough about what the NBA All-Star Weekend has become and what they've done with these 3 games now, the space in between the games, playing to 40 points. It's a nightmare. It's a disaster. The NBA deserves every
This is
ounce of
twice
criticism.
you've called it a nightmare.
Lashing out at LeBron seems odd here. Like, we have a weird relationship right now with the NBA, and we're just mad at the NBA right now, so we're lashing out at LeBron, who's done more for the NBA than anybody. Like, be mad at Adam Silver, be mad at whoever. Like, it's just going after LeBron right here seems odd.
If I may, he's perpetuating one of the problems. The guy literally bailed like minutes before the game. He could have had plenty of advance warning. Someone else could have been on that roster. To me, it felt like a response to Adam Silver saying, hey guys, all right, look what happened last night. There's a property that has value. Let's try to care a little bit more. And then LeBron has the most obvious lie. You can tell by his tells here with the shoulder shrug and the Listen to LeBron James as he tries to come up with an excuse on the fly as to why he's not playing in the All-Star game.
You won't see anything from me tonight. Unfortunately, I will not be in uniform tonight. Still dealing with ankle and foot discomfort, so I will not be playing tonight, unfortunately.
The bobblehead tell from LeBron gets me every single time. You want to give him credit for nuking this? I look at him, I'm like, you're part of the problem, pal. But Jeremy has another theory here that I think might actually change my tune.
I've never been more sure that LeBron is retiring after next season. That this was his moment to nuke what this All-Star weekend was, to not give them the opportunity for the photo ops where you see his placement within that photo. People would have been cropping in on him, Steph, and KD as their all-star moment together. He didn't want to give anyone the photo shoot. He didn't want to give anyone the optics. He didn't want to give the All-Star weekend any narratives that people could glom onto. Oh, the Olympic guys are back together. This was his moment to tank this one so that next year, as he goes on a retirement tour, and you see guys like Giannis on Twitter sort of floating the idea of, ooh, maybe I'll do the dunk contest. John Morant saying the same thing. The All-Star game comes back as LeBron's final, quote-unquote, gift to the NBA, even though he was part of what ultimately tanked the All-Star game. He gets to be the hero because he tanked this weekend's All-Star game.
Conspiracy theory I can get behind. I can get behind that one. That one sounds good, that this was an act of defiance, that he didn't want the optics of being associated with anything that he knew would be a mess, so he would not bother to dress up in any way and be a part of the charade.
And don't forget, it's Steph's weekend. They're hosting in the Bay Area. This is a celebration of Steph. He's riding sidecar at the very least.
Maybe.
He's going to the party politely. He's showing up because he must. It's part of his employment contract. But he separated himself. That this was a victory for LeBron. Not being associated with this was a victory.
Correct.
I mean, can we not excuse the behavior?
But yeah, he's
though?
part of the problem. Like he's part of why it's become what it is.
Exactly. The single biggest problem is the Stars not playing, and you're literally in an all-star game. They're asking for you to pay for tickets to see all the Stars, and minutes before, LeBron's got a foot, ankle, I guess soreness. This is the issue.
He could have actually had someone who wanted to be there. Yeah. Like, that's the part about it that's kind of like annoying, is that, like, yeah, you don't want to be there. No one really wants to be there. But, like, you're taking the level of I don't want to be there to the next level, and you're actually costing people who want to be there opportunity.
If his ankles really hurt, you guys sound like jerks, though.
Okay.
Yeah, why would the oldest player in the league, why would he have any body ailments with more mileage?
Oh, because his body's aging like the rest of everyone else's bodies.
So disrespectful what we're doing to
Charlie
LeBron
McAvoy is in the hospital.
Okay, so I just want, what I want, and Billy's been beaten down by the Stugotz experience here over the last couple of weeks, but I would say that, Billy, if you say after Mike that LeBron is part of the problem, you have to remember and have echoing in your ears that Mike Ryan came in strong after a fiery weekend of drinking the real stuff, hockey, and he said, you're part of the problem, pal. He put an extra pal on the end of that, and you need to get better at your pal.
If you're a small business owner, you know how difficult it can be hiring the right people, and it can be a real grind. It takes the right partner to make sure you're getting the most qualified candidates. Well, we've got the right partner for you. LinkedIn Jobs. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free. Share it with your network and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Meadowlark Media continues to grow as a content studio, and we strive to hire only the best and most qualified candidates. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, they've made it easy for us to find them. So, if you're a small business owner looking for the perfect hire, LinkedIn has you covered. With LinkedIn's new job posting feature, you can write job descriptions effortlessly and get your job in front of the right people using deep candidate insights. Quality matters. Based on LinkedIn data, 72% of small businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find top talent. Join over 2.5 million small businesses using LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire only on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/prep. That's linkedin.com/prep to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, I know I got to do this ad read, but hold on. Let me reapply. Did you hear that? Yep, that's my new favorite lip gloss from NYX Cosmetics. Now I'm ready to talk to you. I've been a huge fan of NYX Cosmetics for many years now. In fact, I use their Thick It, Stick It brow gel every single day. So you can imagine my excitement when we recently received a special delivery to the Batard studios from our friends over at NYX Cosmetics. And there it was. When I opened the box, glowing, I heard the angels sing, "Ah." It's their latest lip gloss fat oil lip drip. It's NYX Cosmetics' first lip oil of its kind. This creamy lip oil will have your lips dripping with fat perks. You get all the shine of a lip gloss and none of the stickiness while experiencing 12-hour hydration. I'm usually a matte lip gloss kind of gal. My normal go-to is NYX Cosmetics lip gloss, the Lingerie XXL. But after applying the status update shade, I have found my new go-to lip gloss. Fat Oil Lip Drip has high shine finish with comfortable wear and none of the sticky texture. A lip product that's hydrating, non-sticky, and only $9? Now that's a win. Try Fat Oil Lip Drip from NYX Professional Makeup. Available in 14 universally flattering shades. Find your perfect Fat Oil Lip Drip. Shop now at nyxcosmetics.com or a retailer near you.